Hey, happy International Podcast Day. I thought I would do a fun, quick episode just on some trivia about this podcast and podcasting in general. First of all, did you know where the word podcast came from? It came from the iPod and broadcast. So people could listen to broadcasts on their iPod, and it was coined in 2004. So we've had podcasts since, I guess, 2004. And right now, the current statistic, it's kind of crazy. Over 584 million people worldwide listen to podcasts. That's more people than the United States and Europe combined. That is a lot of people. So Indonesia has the most podcast listeners per population. 42% of Indonesian citizens listen to podcasts. That's way above the global average, which is about 22% of people listen to podcasts. If you listen to podcasts, you probably say comedy is your favorite. 22% of listeners say that comedy is their favorite. But catch this. 25% of listeners actually listen to health and wellness podcasts. True crime is also way up there. It has 30% of downloads. So people say that they like comedy, they listen to true crime the most, but they also listen to health and wellness a lot. Most podcast listeners open their podcast app between 5 and 7 times a week. A lot of them binge 8 episodes at a time, and that's over an hour a day for listeners, depending on how quickly you listen. I'd be interested to hear how you listen to podcasts. Do you listen at one time? Do you listen at 1.5 speed? Do you listen at double speed? What is your preference? My preference is double speed, and occasionally I do look around the internet to see if there's an app that will play it more, because my brain has adapted and I could listen faster. All right, so 70% of podcast listeners subscribe to at least 3 shows, and virtually every podcast listener listens on their mobile phone. All right, so some stats about the Health with Hashimoto's podcast specifically. I already told you 127 countries is where this has been listened to. Now, some of those are only one play. About 10 of the countries, it's just been played once. For example, Uzbekistan has 1 play, Belarus, 1 play, but there's a lot of other places that listen more. So Pakistan, Cuba, honestly, I didn't even know that Cuba could get podcasts, but evidently they do. And there is a listener in Cuba. So if that's you, hi. Iraq, I have a listener in Iraq, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Kuwait, Malaysia, Vietnam, Austria, Portugal, Russia, Ukraine, Brazil, Greece, Switzerland, Romania. My top 5 countries, or let's go top 10 in order. Number 1 is United States, then Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, Ireland, New Zealand, Netherlands, Sweden, and Mexico. Those are the top 10 countries where I'm talking to, where I have listeners, which just blows my mind to understand that I am sitting here in my office / homeschool room talking into my microphone, and you are listening maybe in the United States, maybe in Spain, maybe in the Philippines. I don't know. It's so crazy. Come over to either Instagram and send me a DM. I am Health with Hashimoto's. There's a dot in between each word. Or come over to our Skool community and tell me where you listen from, and tell me a little bit about your listening habits. All right, so the biggest thing you can do for any podcast is rating or reviewing. Now, this varies based on platform. So if you're listening on Apple Podcast, you can do both. You can just give it stars, or you can give it stars and a review. Both are helpful. And quite honestly, my podcast, the Health with Hashimoto's podcast, needs more ratings and reviews on all platforms. All of them. On Spotify, you can't write a review, you just give it stars. You have to listen to at least 1 episode, and then you can scroll down and give it stars. And I only have 12 ratings in Spotify. So if you are listening on Spotify right now, would you do me a favor and give me some stars? Also, somebody gave me a low amount of stars. So out of those 12, my average is only 4. If you are listening on Spotify, please scroll down and give me 5 stars. I would so much appreciate it. On Audible, where a lot of people listen, you can't do stars. You only can write a quick review. So every platform has their own preference or what they allow for ratings and reviews. But I will tell you this, your rating and review really matters. It really helps support your podcasts that you listen to. It really helps push those podcasts out to other people because it's telling the platform that this podcast is worth listening to. Your rating and review is one of the best ways that you can support a podcast. All right, hop over to Instagram and send me a DM or come over to Skool and share some of your listening habits, some of your favorite podcasts. I would love to get to know you a little better. And one last fun statistic, at least it's fun for me. I can only track downloads. So if you stream, this number is not going to include that podcast stream. But if you download the podcast and then listen, this is where that number is coming from. 116,900 downloads of the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. That is a lot. I am so honored to be able to show up here and to speak simple and sustainable truths to you so that you can change your health, so that you can feel better, so that you can feel like yourself again, so that you can have agency. You can actually feel like a capable CEO of your own health. I'll see you on Thursday for our regular episode.